We're heading into the Montgomery History Conference to donate my agbada that I wore for inauguration. So it's a pretty exciting morning.
So instead of reading his resume, I just want to recognize that Will and his wife, Michelle, are the proud new parents of a 9-day-old baby boy. So with that, I'd like to welcome Will Jawando to make a special announcement.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yes.
Okay. That's my greatest qualification. Not only is he 9 days old, he's actually 10 days today, so I was wrong, Matt, 10 days. He was born last Wednesday. We are the proud parents of 3 girls as well. So we have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 5-year-old girl, and now a 10-day-old boy. So for those who come from families with one gender or the other, the stakes were high, and we didn't find out what we were having. So we found out in the moment as he was sliding out. I told the doctor that the moment from the neck to get to the waist area, it seemed like it was in slow motion as she pulled him out. But we're all very excited. So, and there's a hat which is called an ashoke, which goes on top. They took the head off. But I will be delivering the hat. I was wearing a hat which is called an ashoke as part of the garment, but the agbada here is the main event, and so, but I will be delivering the hat. I want to thank Montgomery History. In 75 years, that's a great accomplishment. Congratulations for that. You mentioned the 100th anniversary on 2054. I think I'll probably just be getting my new son out of college at that time. So hopefully I can come back there and be happy about that. Thank you for all of your work. Thank you, Elizabeth and the team. There you are. She's the curator that put this together and got the mannequin. Let's just give her a quick round of applause for all the work she does. This is a great organization, and as Matt said, very important for our county. Thank you for pulling together this conference. What you're doing here today is recognizing the importance of history. It's a more inclusive and honest history. Talking about our history is the thing that I think gives us a way to put in context the challenges that we face today. And it's essential if we're going to have healing and understanding and move forward. You need only look at the national debate. Thank goodness I'm going to be leaving here shortly to go to a resource fair that we're sponsoring for furloughed workers, many of whom missed their second paycheck yesterday, maybe some in this room. And thankfully we have a 3-week reprieve, but because of who we have in the White House, and I worked in the last good White House, in the Obama White House. I clap for that every day. We know we're in a time when understanding our history, particularly the history of divisiveness, of not appreciating new people who come here for opportunity, which is the story of everyone, unless you're an indigenous person in this, and even they crossed the ice bridge at some point with little resistance other than the cold. But the story of America is the story of coming here for a better life, and I think recognizing our history is so important right now when we're almost repeating it again with the discussion of this crazy border wall. So that wasn't in my speech, but I just wanted to say that. History provides the opportunity for us and a roadmap to make right what are some serious wrongs in our community. Things like systemic racial inequity in our schools, in our public institutions. I'm very proud that our county council, along with our superintendent of schools and our head of Montgomery College right here, as well as many other leaders, our county executive participated in a 2-day racial equity training 2 weeks ago, where we talked about the importance of understanding how this country was founded, the beginnings of racial inequity, the creation of race to subjugate and dehumanize a people in order to set up a caste system that we still are struggling with today. And how we all need to keep that in mind when we're deciding on policies that impact the 1.1 million people here. It's also important because we need to honor the human and civil rights of people, whether it be their rights while interacting with police on the streets, or their rights to safe, affordable housing, high quality healthcare, and economic opportunity. It's important to talk about history because we have a history here in Montgomery County that, like most places in the world, and in the country is not all good. Earlier this week, I was the lead co-sponsor for the Remembrance and Reconciliation Commission resolution, which includes the formation of a commission related to reconciliation and the placement of markers to mark where 3 public lynchings took place in Montgomery County in the 1800s. I invoke the name of those victims, and I'll do so again today: George W. Peck, John Diggs, and Sidney Randolph, all 3 who were violently murdered before public crowds right here in Montgomery County. I wonder if they could have imagined that I'd be standing here today and we'd be putting a piece of clothing and textile into Montgomery history. Probably not. It shows that progress happens, but we have to work for it. We have to confront this history, our history, and learn from it. Because as Matt said, today's Montgomery County looks vastly different than it did 155 years ago after the Emancipation Proclamation. Today, 4 of the most 10 diverse cities in the nation are here in Montgomery County. Our growing diversity includes Spanish speakers, West Africans, East, South, and Central Asians, immigrants from Eastern Europe, and all across the globe, and many, many first-generation children, Americans like me. And if you take the 33%, the 1 in 3 who are already born in another country, and you add their children, you get almost up to 45% of this county's residents who were either born in another country or their parents were born in another country. And that takes me to why I wore this agbada on Inauguration Day. I am proud, but also not so proud, that I'm only the 2nd African American to ever represent the entire county. The first was Ike Leggett, who was elected to this position, County Council at Large, in 1986, more than 30 years ago. And he often tells the story that when he ran for office, he was fearful of putting his picture on his literature, because he knew that in 1986 Montgomery County, or he thought that would be an impediment to him getting elected. So they did not put a picture on his literature until after he won the primary. So when I wore this agbada, which is a traditional Nigerian garb and clothing that is worn for ceremonial purposes, weddings, big events, I did so not without hesitation. You know, I knew I would be doing something that people would look funny at me about and not necessarily understand, and all those nervous things that come when you do something new. But I wanted to do it because I wanted to honor my father and our Nigerian heritage. He had passed away just when I was starting this campaign last year. But I know he was with me every step of the way, and if he was at the inauguration, he would have been wearing something very similar to this. So it had a deep personal connection to me. But I also, as I thought about it, I wanted to honor the great diversity that we have here in Montgomery County. And so by wearing the agbada, I hope to send a signal to all of our residents of any race and any ethnicity that their voice and their heritage are an essential part of the fabric of Montgomery County, and that we need them if we are to be successful as a community. There's a story I want to share with you that I think I have to share it with you because we wouldn't be here if it didn't happen. About a week after the election, I went to the council office building for some orientation, to pick my office, to literally measure the drapes, you know, as they say. And if you've been to that building, it's actually 3 buildings kind of put together. There's renovations going on. There's a big asbestos sign on the doors, but you're safe, so you can still come visit me. You've probably gone through the routine of emptying your pockets at security, sliding your things through, similar to the airport. And you may have come into contact with some of the security guards that work there, many of whom are immigrants themselves, several of whom are West African immigrants. On this day, there were 2 gentlemen that were there, both from West Africa, one from Nigeria, one from Cameroon, which could be Central Africa, depending on the argument, but close to West Africa. When I explained to him my name and that I was a 2nd-generation Nigerian elected to the council, he asked me, "What will you wear to your inauguration?" think someone said, "Wow," I just paused. You know, I'd seen this guy a couple times coming in and out, but we never had any serious interaction. The other one immediately said, "You will wear traditional clothing." He said it not as a question, but as a statement, almost as if it was a foregone conclusion and that there was no other option. And immediately, and Cecily, my chief of staff who's here, was with me, I said to her, "I have to wear an agbada." I knew in that moment, almost as if my father was standing next to me, that I had to honor him and honor the heritage. It felt almost divine that the generations of my ancestors and his ancestors were with me in that moment.
Mr. William Opeyemi Jawando.
And you were whispering in my ear. But even larger than that, because we need to invite our new neighbors and friends into the process of our democracy, we need to include the people who look, sound, and live different from us in all aspects into our government if it's going to work for all of us. We should strive to meet people on their terms and not ask us to change to meet our expectations of what they should be. And that's hard work. It's not easy. Many people who've grown up here, in your lifetime, this community has gone from mostly homogeneous to where we are today. And that's difficult. That's different. Change is hard no matter when it happens or how it happens, and it's happened quickly here. But indeed, I believe our strength lies within that diversity. If we can figure it out here, so can the rest of America, so can the world. And I think no other place is better positioned than Montgomery County to show how you can live in a place that's diverse, that has all types of different types of people, that has a good economy, has good people that care about each other, and where we move together in prosperity and opportunity. When we all come from different cultures, it's really important that we respect and welcome differences, even when those differences come in ways we don't anticipate or even understand. So by wearing this agbada, this traditional West African clothing in a public setting to take the public oath of office is part of a bigger and public dialogue that I think is needed if we are to understand and respect our differences and move forward. So I'm proud to have played a small part in that dialogue and continue to do that, and will do my best to do so. I'm humbled to be a part of this ceremony today, and I thank Matt and the whole Montgomery History team for including me in the conference. You're doing very important work. I hope you'll partner with us on our remembrances of lynching and other things that we're going to embark on so that we can understand and make sense of our history and of the past. And by doing so, tell the truth about the origins of today's society and the problems that we face. And moving together for a better, more inclusive future for everyone. So thank you very much.
Will, thank you very much.